Hi, I'm Dr. Mike Smith, and I'm here on my YouTube channel with the Great Business Stories of St. Louis. And today I've got David Berger. David, tell us about your company.
Yeah, my company is called Envision by Design. We are a full service marketing agency. We deal in both the print end and the digital end of marketing. So
Mhm.
we're full service for our clients and can take care of their every need.
Gotcha. You've been in business for a little bit. Tell us a little bit about how you started and how long you've been in business.
All right. So actually come from an entrepreneurial family. So
Okay.
I had a mom growing up who owns, well, she still owns it. She's not running it. My brother now runs it, a medical publishing company. And
Okay.
my dad owned and ran two different high tech companies. So I grew up around parents both running businesses. And when it got to the point where I saw what was going on, in the world and what I wanted to do with this and the other,
Mhm.
I kind of took a leap and just said, all right, I'm going to jump out there and do it myself too. And that was
Gotcha.
32 years ago now.
Right. Now, has your family always been from the St. Louis area, or you've been a native here? Or?
Yeah, I lived for 9 months in Minnesota, but
Okay.
I was born here. We moved there, came back, and I've been here. I actually went to college, went back and went to college in Minnesota later, and
Great. Bet
came
you,
back
bet you missed
again.
it. Bet you missed that weather a lot in the wintertime, right?
I
So,
actually like cold weather. That doesn't bother
yeah.
me so much. And
Great.
I love
Great.
hockey, so it's a good place to be for that.
Great. So tell us, Envision by Design, that name means a lot. So tell us, each of the services that you provide so we can understand a little bit more because I do hear a lot of very good referrals in the networking groups that I'm in about the design work that you guys do. So tell us a little bit about each different product that you have.
Yeah, well, we offer a lot of different services. The main core ones that I try and focus in on are logos and branding,
Okay.
websites, content creation, and digital marketing solutions.
Gotcha.
Those are ones that really can boost and help a business. But I mean, we cover all the marketing collateral as well. So I have brochures, flyers, science packaging. We also on the digital end cover email marketing and blogs and video. So we can do
Right.
quite a few things. I've literally done everything from designing trading cards for sports teams to
Mhm.
fence wraps on football stadiums.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
And you guys also do some printing. You guys are unusual because you guys actually do the printing, right, as well?
We take we don't personally have the printing
Okay. Right.
presses, but I've been dealing with the printing industry for 37 years overall.
Right.
And
So it's full. So it's
I
full. I
can
mean, interrupt, but it's like full service. Someone has a design, you can get it printed, you can get
absolutely,
the full
we take
circus.
it
They're great.
all the way through. So we'll sit down with them, we'll discuss what they're wanting, come up with a concept that really does what they need to do. And it's more than just, oh, we'll throw everything into a trifold brochure. It's, okay, what is going to show right with the panels of the brochure so that the message reads the right way?
Gotcha.
And what is
Perfect.
going to
Perfect.
catch somebody's attention so that they want to look at it?
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Well, tell us. So everybody loves the entrepreneurial story. So tell us a little bit about your startup and a little bit about your evolution. Then I'll ask you some questions around that as well. Okay.
Okay. Well, I started back in 1993. I had been working for two different companies, each for about a year and a half as a designer. Um, Enjoyed what I was doing, but wanted variety. And the businesses I was working for, they were stuck in one area, and I couldn't be as creative as I wanted to be. So if
Mhm.
I went freelance and got out of there and opened my own company, I could pick and choose clients and be creative. So I
Gotcha.
started doing that. And I literally built the business back then from walking
Mhm.
through little strip malls of businesses,
Mhm.
walking in the door, seeing a little trifold brochure and a little business card sitting up on the counter, picking
Mhm.
them up. I would go home with those. I would
Okay.
redesign the front cover of the brochure.
Okay.
I'd call the guy and try and set a meeting. And
Gotcha.
during the course of the meeting, I'd show them what I did. And generally, after seeing that, they were like, wow, okay, maybe we should talk.
Mhm.
And they
Great.
give me a shot.
Yeah. So given a little bit to gain something, that's really great. So you've been there during the evolution of the paper world to the digital world to the viral video world. Tell
Yep.
us a little bit about how you have worked with those different changing technologies and medias over the last 30 years. Tell us a little bit about that because the world's changed a lot. So tell us a little bit about that.
It's not only changed a lot, it's always changing.
Right.
So there's
Right.
always a new challenge. When I first started in graphic design world changed every 2 to 3 years.
Okay.
Now it changes every 2 months.
Okay.
So it's just nuts. The changes. I mean, I hand coded my first website in 1990 in HTML
Okay.
to do things. When social media and all the other stuff came into play, you learn them as they come through, and you then have to stay up to speed. So I spent a lot of time reading up on things, sharing notes with other companies and friends of mine that run agencies to try and make sure we're really on top of things and we understand what's going on.
Mhm.
And then the other thing is, I started my company because I was frustrated with watching the way a lot of the agencies worked.
Mhm.
I didn't like the fact that most of the agencies spent more time trying to charge their clients than they did help them. I
Okay.
wanted to be the company that if something isn't going right, I'm not happy with it either. I want to
Gotcha.
fix it. I want to have it right. I want my client to be happy. And, because of that, a lot of the agencies worry about winning awards. I don't generally worry about winning awards. I worry about my customers being happy. If I have clients that are with me for 5, 10, 15, 20, 30 years, I'm happy.
Gotcha. So as things are evolving out there with the video, the TikTok, the Facebook,
Yep.
the social medias. Tell us a little bit about what you guys do and how you've adapted in that's ever changing world. Because I know that changes like by the day a little bit.
Yeah.
So tell me a little bit about
Well, when I saw what was going on with video is extremely important in today's world, and it's going to become even more important as it goes forward. Um, I decided, yeah, we need to be doing that as well. So
it.
I have workers who work for me who can do video, do a very nice job. I have vendor partners who run video production companies that I can do
Okay.
very large video, custom video with 5 cameras and mic'd up
Right.
and green
Right.
screens and everything else. They have studios they can go into if we need to shoot something with special effects and the whole works. It just
Gotcha.
depends on what you really need. The
Mhm.
main thing that sets me apart from some of the other companies that might try and sell you video is the
Mhm.
fact that I'm going to only sell you what you actually need.
Right.
I could do
Gotcha.
something with crazy special effects and whatever, but
All
if you
right.
don't need that, I don't want you to spend the money on it.
Right.
You know,
Right. So when
so
you look at go ahead and finish up. I'm sorry.
yeah. Then the other area, which is now the main focus of change in my industry, is AI.
Okay.
So
I was going to ask
AI
that. So
has
let's
done,
talk about that for a few minutes. Go ahead.
yeah,
Yeah.
AI has made a major change, and the
Okay.
problem you run into, the two main biggest issues with running a marketing agency is DIY marketing and then
Okay.
AI.
Okay.
So people think, oh, I can just try and do this all on my own. And then when it
Right.
fails miserably, then they come to somebody else
Right.
because there's a lot more to it than just trying to pull some things together. Um,
Right.
so it's AI is a helpful thing. It's by no
Mhm.
means am I saying, don't use AI. AI is
Right.
a very useful thing, but it's a tool. It is not the end all for doing things. You need
Right.
to actually understand how to use it as a tool to
Mhm.
make it effective and help your company.
They work with what's the typical client base that you have? I know it's probably all kinds of industries, but there specific industries that are really
Um,
something that you like to work with,
so I've done work in, like you said, all kinds of industries, and
right?
I
Right.
love some of the ones I can throw out are really unusual. But
Right. Yeah, go
but the
ahead.
areas that I really do pick up a lot of business
Mhm.
in are
Mhm.
home service industry,
Okay.
healthcare industry.
Okay.
Those two I do quite well in talking to people, and they really do need help. um, Trying to stand out in the home service industry is a tough thing. And I spend a lot of time talking to the business, trying to find that separator, what makes
Hmm.
them different than other people, so we can
Right.
emphasize that and bring people to them. And having a good story behind the business really helps too. I can
Right.
connect them to that story because people buy on emotion. They don't buy
Hmm.
on features.
Right.
So you want people to connect to that story. You want them to feel comfortable. Having a solid brand and a solid story to connect to forms trust.
Hmm.
That gets you from the point, like I like to say, the difference between a customer and a client.
Right.
A customer is someone who comes to you one time to use your products and services. A client is somebody who comes back repeatedly and tells everybody they know about you.
Gotcha.
You know,
Gotcha.
that's all based on trust. That's all
Right.
trusting the brand, feeling comfortable with the brand. They'll even pay more for your service based on the fact they know you're taking care of and doing a good job.
Gotcha. So I understand the home services, and I think everyone that would watch this, understands that because we all have plumbing, heating, HVAC, lawn
Yep.
care, pest control, et cetera. But one of them that you brought up was healthcare. Let's dig into that a little bit because that one was made
Okay.
it ring a bell for me. Like, tell me a little
Yeah.
bit about how you're
Um,
helping clients market the healthcare industry.
so it's direct care doctors,
Okay.
radiology clinics,
Okay.
um, chiropractors, physical therapists.
Gotcha.
I throw fitness gyms in there as well, that type
Right.
of thing.
Right. Right.
But
Well, too.
all MRI places, anything
Mm-hmm.
that's in medical that really needs to to get out there and have people
Hmm.
notice them. And a lot of cases, they are some of these they're bigger entities and they have a brand. They just don't know how to get it out there. So
Right.
they've already created a look, for their logo and whatever else. They just don't know the right ways to actually get noticed beyond everything else. And it's the definition of insanity to do the same thing over and over again and expect different results. Well,
Hmm.
that's what they generally do. Is it
Gotcha.
like, we've been doing this for years, we're going to keep doing this? No, that's not going to change. You need to change things, so you got to do something different. So that's where my catchphrase for my business comes from, which is bringing brands to life. Don't zig, zag.
Gotcha. Yep. I've heard your punchline
Yeah.
before. Um, So let's talk a little bit about. So I obviously see on LinkedIn a lot. So your ads seem to get top of mind there. Tell us a
Mhm.
little bit about the strategies that you use to use the different medias, because obviously those businesses that are looking on LinkedIn are doing something differently than those who are on Facebook, Instagram / TikTok.
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about how you kind of dissect with a client the right place for them to go.
Well, it's based on audience to start with. You have
Okay.
to know who you're trying to get to. So
Right.
it's age, it's what platforms they're on, where they're going, how they want to be reached. Um, it's a number of different factors in that regard. You have to identify who you're trying to get to and what best gets to them. Um,
Gotcha.
in marketing in general, you want the most direct path possible. So
Right.
the last thing you want to do is I've heard people in the home service industry that have told me they've done direct mail campaigns and they haven't done anything. And I'm thinking to
Hmm.
myself, okay, you did not do a very good direct mail campaign if you're in the home service industry and didn't get anything from it. So
Right.
I want to then look at, first of all, what mail list did they send to?
Right.
What type of control did they have on that? Then I want
Right.
to look at what's the piece that they sent out, what's it look like? Is the
Right.
messaging good? Is it attractive to look at? Is there a
Right.
call to action? Is
Right.
there tracking numbers and ways to know how that campaign's actually doing? You
Hmm.
know, is it connected to a landing page on a website so you know what's going on? Is there a form for someone to fill out quickly to try and
Hmm.
get to them? So it's really a matter of understanding how that all comes together and making sure that's
Hmm.
all in place.
Right. So you guys do all types of marketing, and part of that's, awareness, branding, etc. Tell us a bit about uh, how the client, when you're out doing some of the lead gen or some of those type. Tell me what you expect from the client once someone clicks and answers something. Tell me about your experience first, because I'm sure there's all types of experience, and then tell me about what the best practice is for someone to do that.
Say it again. To do.
So someone goes to their site, they click on it. You guys did your job, right? You got them
Yeah.
to go download or go
Right.
email, go do something. Now they have their lead. What
Okay.
experiences have you had
Response.
where they've not done well? The business didn't
Right.
follow through.
Yeah.
And then tell me about what's the ideal way, if you
Well,
would.
the ideal way, first of all, is not to leave them holding. So
Okay.
don't have a long wait period in between getting
Okay.
back to them. Uh,
Okay.
think about your message. Do
Mhm.
not just throw something together real quickly to get to them.
All right.
If it is a lead, and most companies do better sitting down in person, talking to somebody, going through all the you
Right.
know, nuts and bolts of what they do, than they
Mhm.
do on a phone call or they do in an email.
Right.
Your goal with the email or the phone call is to get that date set so you can sit down and go through things. It's not
Gotcha.
to sell them everything within the email or the phone call.
Right.
So focus in on where the real goal is, because once you have them in a room and you can talk to them, you
Mhm.
can do a lot better. If you
Right.
put things in that email where they don't get it, they don't understand something, and it turns them off, you're
Right.
going to have a real problem.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Gotcha. Those are
And then
that's good
track
sage
all that
advice.
too. Track
Okay.
everything. Yeah.
Mhm. Gotcha. Um, what are some of the challenges that you've had? So, and I say that meaning that, you're obviously a survivor. You went through the last 32 years. You went through the COVID, which
Yeah.
eliminated some of the weaker businesses that were out there. You've got people who are, leaving agencies, who are starting new marketing
Mhm.
firms. Tell us about how you've adapted since COVID and some of the things that you do from a niche standpoint, better than your average competitor that's out there. Give us a little bit of
Okay.
feedback on that.
All right. So obviously when COVID hit, everything kind of changed.
Oh,
um, at that point, even though I do print marketing, no one needed
mhm.
print marketing.
Okay.
No one was in
Gotcha.
person. No one could hand anything to anybody. So I had
Right.
to focus more on digital at that point.
Hmm.
Coming into COVID, I probably was 60% print, 40% digital. Coming out
Hmm.
of COVID, I was probably 80% digital, 20% print. Now I'm
Hmm.
back to more like 60-40, but it's 60 digital, 40 print. So it's
Okay.
reversed.
Okay.
Um, so that had to be done during that time period to adjust and do things.
Mhm.
Just made more sense. What was the rest of your question on that?
Um, so you've got through, the COVID, what you're doing, your niche compared to your competitors, right? Because you've got new competitors starting all the
Right.
time, and everybody's,
So,
sister-in-law does marketing.
okay.
So,
Yeah. So the competitors that are coming out right now, at least, or especially the last 10 years, are
right.
strictly digital companies.
Okay.
They don't really do the print end of things. But print isn't actually going away.
Mhm.
It's still going to be there. People like having something in their hands,
Uh-huh.
they like to be able to hold something and look at it and go through it. That's still going to be part of things. Digital is, yes, very important, and there's more avenues to do digital than there ever has been before,
Mhm.
and it keeps growing. And that's
Gotcha.
definitely important too. But all these are tools in a toolbox.
Hmm.
How effective do you think someone who, say, does home repairs would be if they showed up to work to do stuff and they didn't have a power drill and they didn't have a hammer?
Hmm.
It
Right.
would be very difficult for them to do a good job at wherever they're going to get the work done.
Hmm.
Well, I
Gotcha.
don't I don't handicap myself. I look at both the print and digital options
Mhm.
and come up with what makes sense for that company to get them where they need to be as quickly as possible and as effectively as possible. You know, so
Gotcha.
that's the main core with things. And then make sure that I adapt as things go. So there are new changes all the time. I mean, AI keeps adding more stuff. their
Hmm.
program updates or other things that
Hmm.
are in and out and everything else. You need to stay on top of it. And I
Hmm.
spent a lot of time doing that.
Gotcha. Um, so I hear through some of the coaching collaboratives that I'm in and different groups that don't lose faith in the print media. For example, today I went and got my mail after the morning meetings that I had and walked out there, and believe it or not, I just had one envelope sent to me. No other mail out there. Tell me how, print media is not dead, and tell me how that affects today, because we're all getting enough emails to keep us all busy for hours. But tell me about how printed media is helping.
Yeah, print media is still very, very useful. It
Hmm.
can help lead when it comes to having brochure type material. It can
Hmm.
lead somebody through a process of
Hmm.
the sale from the
Hmm.
point of you're interested to the point of sitting down and saying, okay,
Hmm.
you're ready to start, which is
Hmm.
great. So two different pieces can get you there. Generally,
Hmm.
I talk to people about a rack card for
Hmm.
networking and talking and expos and
Hmm.
that type of thing, and a
Hmm.
full-fledged larger brochure that goes into
Okay.
your services. Doesn't say everything, but it says
Right.
enough that you can
Right.
talk it through in front of them, has
Hmm.
infographics explaining things and stuff like that, that you can
Hmm.
finish going through that then and say, okay, you ready to get started? And sign some.
Great.
And
Great.
that's a good thing. Direct mail is very, very effective because people like having stuff in their hands. They like seeing
Hmm.
a reminder about this, that, and the other.
Hmm.
Direct mail combined with email marketing can be extremely effective
Hmm.
because you're hitting people in two places. And
Gotcha.
it balances it out. So you get a postcard out to somebody, and then within the next week they get an email about it too. Then the next month they get another postcard following up on that first postcard. Then they
Hmm.
get an email about a week after that too. And you do that for a course of at least 3 months, and you
Hmm.
generally pick up a lot of people that were just, well, okay, so I saw this, that was okay. I'm curious about that. See something else, maybe I should take a look at that a little more. You see it again,
Yeah.
it's like, I really do need to do something about that. And then
Hmm.
eventually get to the point where someone's like, I better call them, you know?
Right. So tell me what you think works better, and I know it depends on the industry, but in general, you got home services, you got healthcare.
Mhm.
Is a direct mail inside an envelope with a letter more important, or a mailing inside an envelope, or where you see the slick flyers that come out? Which one
The
do you find to be more effective? And
a large postcard tends to work better. The
okay,
reason why that tends to work better is because people don't like opening mail. They
okay,
just don't.
gotcha, I
Um,
gotcha.
and when you're doing a postcard, do not send out a 4x6 postcard. It is the exact same size as a number 10 envelope, which is generic envelopes you get in the mail.
Hmm.
So when
Okay,
you're picking up the stack of mail, it's buried.
right,
Do a
gotcha.
6x9 size card, or you could do a 6x11 size card.
Okay, okay,
You can do larger size cards, but the postage amount changes.
okay.
So from size 5x7 through 6x11, it's the
Mhm.
exact same postage to mail.
Oh wow, interesting. I didn't know that.
If you get above 6x11, it goes to booklet size, which would be 8.5x11 and up. Okay.
Okay, gotcha.
So that's where you want to really be. That's a sweet spot. That's why most of the cards you get are about 6x9 that
Gotcha.
come in your mail.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Perfect. So, let's wrap up on a couple of questions I have. So, what's the biggest challenge in your business that you see, today out in the world? We've had went from 2024 to 2025. What are some of the challenges that you've seen?
Um, people, there are a lot of marketing agencies out there. People have
Hmm.
worked with agencies before.
Hmm.
There are agencies that are not great and they
Okay.
take advantage of people
Okay.
and they get upset and frustrated. And then it's rough to try and discuss something with them. I
Right.
don't treat my customers like that. I never
Right.
have.
Right.
But there are people who are so frustrated over what happened before that they make it really difficult for me to help them.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Yeah. And yeah, and I've seen the proposals that you provide, that's very clear what you do up front. There's three or four steps you guys go through and
Yeah.
work all those out. And it's very, very straightforward. So very good. So how big's your team? How big's your team overall that you work
Uh,
with?
we have a small team, but we also have vendor partners that I'm connected to. So
Okay.
I've got three people that are part of my main core of my team.
Okay.
And then I've got vendor partners that we work with that can handle just about anything I need. And
Gotcha.
they're relationships that I've had for years and do a great job. And they work
Mhm.
as my team when they're working with me.
Gotcha. Well, we're in some networking groups together and saw each other the other night at Networkathon, which is a big event
Yeah.
here in St. Louis once a quarter. Tell us a little bit about your ideal referral partner, as those who are listening to us would want to hear.
Yeah. So, there are obviously clients that I'm looking for, but then there are all people that can connect me in different ways.
Okay.
Business coaches like you are a great
Okay.
connection because you are talking to small businesses, trying to
Mhm.
help them develop and grow. And generally, in
Right.
the course of doing that, you need them to have their act in order. You need their brand
Right.
to be solid. You need them to have a solid website and other
Right.
things in place in order to do that. So
Right.
that's a good one. Uh, Business bankers, somebody who is doing small business loans, that type of thing. That's a good mix for me. But really, anybody who's talking to small businesses regularly about what that small business is all about. There are other side companies, like photographers, that don't do design in any way, but need,
Mhm.
their clients mention to them, I've got these pictures, but I need to do this with this brochure. I don't know how I do that.
Okay.
They can connect me. Videographers, same thing,
Mhm.
you know, but yeah, it's really people who are in front of the right types of businesses. And the
All right.
businesses I'm looking for really are businesses that are doing ongoing marketing, that actually
Okay.
want a game plan for doing things, which I'm sure you
Right.
spend a lot of time talking to them about,
Right.
is actually
Right.
planning. uh,
Right.
they want to plan. So instead of during the course of 2025 doing what I call spot marketing, which is, oh, I
Right.
need this flyer, let's get this done. I need this brochure, let's get this done.
Right.
Let's sit down with a company at the beginning of the year, talk
Mhm.
through, okay, I've got four expos coming up. This one's on this one's on this one's on this, and discuss what they're all about. And let's put a game plan in order so that you have all your expo background material and stuff for the table and everything else. So it's basically expo in a box ready to go when you're ready, you
Okay.
know,
Gotcha.
and everything else that you have going on. Let's put a game plan for, okay, here's what I need to emphasize the first part of the year because this is seasonal, and then this I need to emphasize later, and I'm doing this huge talk later on, and I want to
Mhm.
emphasize that. And by the way, oh, it's our 15-year anniversary, and we need to promote that too. But it's a matter of actually game planning, having a marketing budget. And by the way, the average company should be using 10% of their annual revenue as a marketing budget.
Gotcha.
Most of them
10%.
don't.
Okay.
That's the real number of where you really should be.
Right.
And then the other misconception, during rough times when the
Mhm.
economy isn't well, you should market more, not less.
Gotcha. That's a great point to have. Great. So, David, tell us again, do your elevator pitch for us, and then tell us how
Yeah.
someone can get a hold of you.
Well, I'm David Berger with Envision by Design. We are a full service marketing agency. We tell the story behind your business and we help to make sure that you stand out so that people connect to your story and want to use your products and services. And we bring brands to life. Don't zig, zag.
Great. Thanks. I love when you guys bring that up at the end of the networking meetings that we go to. Again, Dr. Mike Smith from the Great Business Stories of St. Louis. And thank you, David, for getting on the show with us. And thank you for all the work that you do and all the nice compliments that I hear at the groups about your firm.
Thank you, Mike. I appreciate it.